Hello everybody, welcome back to today's video. I hope you had a great week and thank you for joining me. This is the last of the series that I am painting, and I want to work a little bit more with the Cascade Green. And today I'm going to pair it with the Quinacridone Purple by Daniel Smith. And I might bring in a little bit of the Lunar Violet. That one's a very moody color. The Quin Purple is light and bright. Because the Quin Purple has a little bit of blue in it, I think it would match really well with the Cascade Green because that also has blue in it, but it also has yellow in it, as you can see. So I'm hoping that I am going to get a good combination with those two colors. I like to try out new color combinations. Sometimes I get stuck in using the same colors over and over, and this series has helped me play a little bit more with different color combinations. So I have prepped my paper. Back side is wet with water, front side is wet with water. I don't want it sopping wet, I just want it a little bit damp so that the colors can move a little bit more freely. Okay, I think I want to start with the Quin Purple first. I just love this color so much. I'm just trying to get most of the paint off of my brush because I'm using quite a big mop brush here, and it holds a lot of paint and water, but it also helps me fill a paper quickly. I might need to add a little bit more water depending on how I want them to interact. Maybe I'll spritz. I want to take advantage of the colors just kind of moving into this empty space here on their own, thus creating a little bit more of a lighter mixture. There's quite the saturated edge over here. The colors are now moving down on the page and creating their own combination. All right, I don't like how it dries over in this corner. So I want to add a little bit more of that green here. And I also want to add a little bit more of that green in here and over here. It's a little bit too much water now. I might not need the Lunar Violet. Or we'll bring in the Lunar Violet for our second layer. So far, I like how these two work together. There's a really beautiful, like, purple blue mix happening. I might want it a little bit more dark down here. I'm bringing in some more of that green because now it's almost a little too blue, a little too purple from what I have learned. is that I need to keep moving the paper so that I don't get like weird ways of dry patches. I think we picked well, friends. I think we picked well. I think I want to add a little bit more diluted green down here. You just never know what you're gonna get. But learning more about the colors and what they're made of and playing with them helps me determine which combinations work without getting a muddy mess, you know? I love what's happening here. That is a beautiful color. And I did not use any turquoise at all. So, beautiful surprise. There's quite a bit of water still in the middle. Sometimes I have to bend the paper the other way, but then I don't want it to collect along the edges. So I think now I just need to baby it a little bit until it has dried some more before I can leave it alone. Wow, love that. There's even a little bit of yellow in there. That is amazing. I have mentioned this before, but if you're new here, you might not know. I like to let my watercolors dry organically. I don't like to take a hairdryer to it. So that is why this process basically takes the longest for me. I really enjoy manipulating the pigment as it moves across the page and dries. A couple weeks ago, we used the Rose of Ultramarine, and this is what we came up with. And while it has a similar feel color-wise, there is a lot more like yellow tone in the Rose of Ultramarine that ultimately came through. Whereas I'm hoping we get more of a blue tone, purple tone with this combination. It's interesting, huh? All right, I'm gonna try to manipulate this corner here because I don't like it. Look at this beautiful turquoise now. There, that's better. We lost a little bit of what was going on here, tilting it. So I'm a little sad about that. So far I like it. I like the two lighter spots. There's some beautiful granulation going on right in this, hold on. Right in this area. There's some greens in it. Some almost like moss green, and over here too. And then you get the purples and the blues. Sometimes it's almost sad that I cover everything up. Over the next few weeks, I don't know how long I want to keep exploring, but since we're done with this series, I have now made 12, and at the end of this video I will show them all in case you haven't watched them, and I will also put them in a playlist. And at this point I'm not sure what I want to call it, but it will be a playlist of 12 videos just for this series. And then I decided that I also want to make these paintings into the 2027 calendar, the desk calendar. If you don't know what I'm talking about, is I did a series of these more contemporary abstracts, working with a negative painting technique, and that was so much fun. And I made a calendar out of it that you can keep on your desk. And if you already have purchased a calendar for this year, you will have a stand to go with it, so you can have the option of buying the stand or not buying the stand. So the idea is that you can keep adding each year, and you only have to buy the stand once. All right, I think we reached a point where I can let it sit on its own. I might come in temporarily and just kind of check on it. But for now, I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I can't wait to work on this next. I quickly wanted to check in with you all because it has pretty much dried to the touch. There's no more water on here. And I did a little experiment. I put some paper towel underneath it, and that actually worked really well. So it didn't pool anymore, even though there was just a little bit more water on there after I stopped babying it a little bit. And I didn't want it to pool because naturally, because I have it taped off, the paper is kind of bending this way a little bit. And yeah, so putting down a piece of paper towel, I can feel this is damp. Naturally, it is, because the backside of this paper was damp as well. So there's a little bit of that absorption, but it just helped with the water absorption without needing to use a hairdryer. I am gonna let this fully dry though. I can't work on it just yet. I can still feel it's a little, there's a little bit of moisture in it still. So I'm going to put this to the side until it's completely dry, and then we can continue. It's been a couple of days and this piece is completely dry, which makes it now possible for me to start decorating it. I apologize in advance. I have developed a cold. I haven't had a cold in, I think, 10 years. So let me get most of what I am going to do out of the way right now, so that I don't have to keep explaining. So I took out some color pencils. I'm actually not sure that this one is going to work because it's a very light yellow. But I also want to bring in this light yellow Arrtx marker and bring in another shade, because I feel like there is a little bit of that yellow peeking through in the lighter sections. So I kind of want to accentuate that color a little bit more. I also brought out some greens, although I might have to dip into the other Arrtx markers to see what kind of greens it has in there, because none of these are what I'm looking for. Where is this little piece? Yeah, this one might actually work. I don't know. We'll see. I also re-wetted my watercolors that I'm still going to be using. And I want to play a little bit more with these white pens, especially the Dauber, and of course some fine liner pens and whatnot. So I did sketch something out on Procreate last night just to kind of figure out what I want to do. There was a couple of things that I wanted to bring in, but I wasn't sure of the placement. I don't know if it shows, but this is kind of what I have in mind. So we're gonna see how close we're gonna get or how much it's going to change, because it always happens. But at least it's something I can go by and not get distracted. That also helps me figure out the steps. Some of the colors I want overlapping, especially in this first part. And by putting down the color in Procreate, I was able to figure out which color goes on top, which color should lie on the bottom, and so on. So this is what we're going to do first. I deliberately want to bring in the colored pencils for this part because I just want it to be a touch of color and a touch of movement. But like I said, I'm actually not sure how well these are going to show up. So plans might change. Actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I think the watercolor pencils might be a better bet. Now, I'm not sure if I have those exact colors. Let me look real quick. I do. They're almost similar, but it doesn't really matter because if I don't like it, I can always go over it again. So especially with the yellow, I feel like I need to activate it with water so that it shows up a little bit better. It might completely backfire on me. That is also possible. Anyway, that is the plan. Of course, I am also bringing in the gold because that always brightens up things a little bit. And I have some of the black and my dotting tools. And I think that's it. All right, I'm gonna be quiet now and rest my voice. And I might come back in the end again to let y'all know how I feel about it finished. That kind of disappears. All right, I'm gonna leave it alone, and then I might come in with this guy. like the green shade with the other elements that are going on, so I'm using this pencil and I'm going over it and just tone down that color a little bit. And I think I like that a little bit better. It also ties in a little bit more with this. Yeah, I like that better. here we are. I really like it. It's very cute. And I think it rounds up this series nicely. In case you haven't seen all the other videos, I made a playlist for them, and I will link it at the end of this video so that you can either go back and look at it, or, you know, if you want to refer to them later at a later time, then it's easier to find. But I really like how all of them turned out. Truly. And it's a nice set of paintings that work really well together. I hope you enjoyed it. I know you did, because you left me comments saying so. What is going to happen next? I don't really know. There's a few things I want to try out, and I am going to have to be patient with myself because I am entering a new territory that I am not as familiar with, and I hope you will be there cheering me on. I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you so much for joining me and for commenting and for liking my art. It is heartwarming and makes me just so happy that I can bring you some joy in this world. And I hope you try some of this for yourself. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Stay creative wherever you are in the world. And I will see you next week. Okay? I hope you will be there. Bye, everybody.